I am Steve Rosier and Director of Analytics for Verint, and we've been talking a lot about social media recently, and I think a lot of people are still struggling in understanding whether they should have a social media strategy. There are a lot of people out there, a lot of organisations that have a presence on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, but a lot are really struggling with how they should define their strategy. I think there are still a lot of sort of boogeymen stories out there, and we've all heard about United Breaks Guitars. I think a lot of things still circle back to that. I think there is still a legacy where there are these horror stories out there that people think that they need a social media presence because they don't want to end up being the next United. But unfortunately, a lot of those channels aren't monitored, or they're not monitored well. Some people use them as another method of channeling complaints. So what we're finding is, and some of the work that we did with the CCA and Ipsos Mori last year indicates that 44% of customers say that it's absolutely pointless giving feedback to an organisation because they don't listen to it or they don't do anything with it. And this again is just an indication that a lot of these channels out there, that customers are showing a preference now, particularly with the proliferation of smartphones and things of that nature. This is how they want to communicate via social media, not necessarily to complain, but to ask about products and services. But unfortunately, a lot of organisations, as we say, are struggling with that strategy, and they're not monitoring those channels. They don't have a method of feeding back to the customer to say, we hear what you're saying and this is what we're doing about it. So unfortunately, there is a lot of disinformation and a lot of disloyalty out there amongst customers because they think, well, some of these channels, there's no point in communicating with the customer because they're not going to get back to me. So going forward, the important things to remember, I think, are to make sure that the channels that you have available to your customers, they all need to be monitored. You need to give that feedback to the customer. I mean, there are many analytics tools out there that will do it for you. So you don't have to have hundreds of people sitting behind this, physically going through Twitter and looking at those kind of feeds. There are tools that can do it for you, and I think you can get to that insight, and we're talking a lot now about big data and how we analyse that big data and get some actionable insight out of it, and those tools are available now. So I think it's just having that strategy in place and understanding, how do our customers wish to speak to us, and how do we do that? So moving forward, it's really getting away from that 44% of customers that have this distrust that, well, it's pointless giving you feedback, so what they're going to do is just go to your competitors and walk out the door without actually ever telling you about it, and nobody wants that.